Well, it's changed hugely because years ago they had to write letters and it took weeks for a message to get home, and now we have instant communications. Even the days where ambassadors were calling the shots in post-Cold War, before the end of World War II and so forth. The tempo and the pace has changed very, very significantly. The modern communications media has presented an instantaneous challenge to diplomats, and obviously the volatility of the world, the dangers of the world today in terms of terrorism, the conflict, sectarian conflict, civil wars, strife, so forth, are really presenting a whole set of new challenges, not to mention globalization and huge populations of young people who do not have great opportunities. So the challenge for the American diplomat today is as intense as ever. Well, that's a great question, and the appropriate one. Diplomacy, foreign policy, is the effort to take American interests at home and protect them abroad, and project our values abroad in furtherance of those interests. So we push democracy, obviously, because we are convinced that countries that are democratic, countries that afford their populations broad access to opportunity, that respect the dignity of individuals, that give people certain rights of assembly, of speech, etc., those countries are inevitably stronger and more peaceful. So that's where we find our alliances. And it is critical for us, particularly in today's world where external entities like an ISIL or Al-Qaeda or other entities are prepared to threaten the United States directly. We have to provide for the security of our country. And the better place to do that is to try to meet those challenges abroad rather than wait till they come to us here, as we learned in 9/11. It's a very tough, constant challenge to balance that. We spend an amazing amount of time and energy, as we should, to make sure that our diplomats on a daily basis are getting what they need. So every single day we do an evaluation of our most potentially threatened and or legitimately threatened embassies. We make sure that the numbers of personnel there are appropriate to whatever the circumstances are. We engage in additional security measures if necessary. We even draw down an embassy at some point. Libya recently, well ahead of time, we drew down our entire embassy and temporarily suspended our operations there because it was simply too dangerous. So those are evaluations we're making on a daily basis. Well, it's a whole family enterprise. I said yesterday to some folks who were gathered here as we announced our new ambassador and swore him in for Russia, that this is an all-family undertaking. Just as an entire family deploys when our soldiers go to Iraq or our soldiers go to Afghanistan, in today's world, a whole family deploys when a diplomat goes abroad. And in some of those places, they're deploying by not going with their loved one. So we have unaccompanied tour locations where it's too risky. Kabul, Afghanistan's an example. There are others where we don't have the families present. So it's much tougher on the family at home and tougher on the diplomat abroad. Those are the kinds of sacrifices that people make constantly. There are dangers in certain places. There's a lot of travel, long hours, not high pay. And it's done because people love the concept of serving their country, and they love the idea of taking American ideals abroad, taking our values and trying to promote them in various places, and also in doing so, helping to protect the interests of our country at home. It's a great undertaking, and I'm proud and privileged to be part of it today, and I recommend it to any young person who wants to do something where they can go out and make a difference in the world.